still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and I cannot change you, so I must replace you. Oh, easier said than done. I thought you were the one, listening to my heart instead of my head. You find another one, but I am the better one. I won't let you forget me. You left me falling and landing inside my grave. I know that you want me dead. I take prescriptions to make me feel A-okay. I know it's all in my head. I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and I cannot change you, so I must replace you. Oh, easier said than done. I thought you were the one, listening to my heart instead of my head. You find another one, but I am the better one. I won't let you forget me.
Welcome to the Ark Putney Academy School Assembly for the week of the 23rd of November. I want to start this week with a religious quote, as understanding the insight from other religions deepens our knowledge and gives us greater insight into our friends, our fellow students, and our colleagues. That understanding and respect is one of the things it means to be a good Brit and to be a good human being. This week, I've chosen a quote from Islam. For many of us, this year has been a difficult one due to the pandemic and the lockdowns. This quote inspires in us the drive to look for something positive in all that difficulty and to demonstrate our strength of character and our humanity despite the challenges we face. When Allah gives, it's a gift. When Allah withholds, that too is a gift. Next Thursday, we commemorate World AIDS Day. This is a day for us to remember all those who've died of AIDS since it was first discovered 40 years ago. It's a day for us to pause and think about those who are still dying of AIDS, particularly in Africa. And it's a day to show that we stand together and support all those who are shunned, who are looked down on, who are stigmatized because they're carriers of HIV. Bill Clinton, the former President of the United States, said, "We live in a completely interdependent world, which simply means we cannot escape each other. How we respond to AIDS depends, in part, on whether we understand this interdependence. It's not someone else's problem. This is everybody's problem." His point is this: nobody can ignore AIDS. As a pandemic, even if you or your family is unaffected, it will affect you in ways you can't even imagine. Stamping this out is everybody's problem, and while it continues to destroy families and societies in other parts of the world, it will continue to affect us here, now, in London. We often talk about HIV and AIDS in the same breath. HIV is the human immunodeficiency virus. It's a virus that's transmitted through the bloodstream. The most common causes of transmission are being born to an unmedicated HIV-carrying mother, which is the most common cause in the third world, having unprotected sex with an unmedicated HIV-infected partner, and for drug users, sharing needles with other users. HIV, if it's left untreated, leads to AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, where the virus causes such damage to the immune system it can no longer fight off infections. Nobody dies of AIDS itself. People die of the complications, which can be as simple as the common cold, which your body can't fight back against once your immune system has been defeated. Since AIDS was first discovered in 1981, 30 million people have died from AIDS-related diseases. In the UK, 1 in 12 people who are HIV positive are unaware of their status. They're thus more likely to infect others, and may go on to develop AIDS themselves. In the UK, around 100,000 people are HIV positive. Thanks to medical advances, fewer than 400 died of AIDS-related illnesses last year. This has been due to a four-pronged strategy. The first, public health campaigns warning of the dangers of unprotected sex. The second, emergency medication that could be taken within 48 hours of exposure, and long-term medication which suppresses the virus. The third, clean and safe places for drug users, including exchanging old used needles for clean ones. And the fourth, a huge focus on testing to ensure that those with HIV get the treatment that they need. So what can you do? You can break the stigma. Nobody should be afraid or ashamed of the medical condition that they have. Secondly, if you think you're at risk, you should see your doctor immediately. Third, buy a red ribbon to show your support. I'll be selling these later on in the week. Donations go to the National AIDS Trust. I'd like you to now watch this video with 3 people with HIV where they explain how it impacts on their lives. The AIDS pandemic is a huge tragedy, and it continues to be tragic, and that can't be underplayed. But in some ways, it's also made us into a better society. Firstly, it's forced us to be more sympathetic, and particularly with regard to drug users. By understanding that drug users have a problem and need help and need to be supported, we've provided safe, clean places where HIV transmission is less likely. Secondly, it's forced us to be more open. When same-sex relationships were frowned upon, life for many gay men was hidden, and they weren't encouraged to participate in wider society. That homophobia caused HIV and AIDS to spread. As we in the UK have become more open, particularly with equal recognition of marriage, it's become safer to be gay, and there are no longer high levels of transmission amongst gay men. Sadly, there are still 70 countries around the world where homosexuality is a crime. But now I want to turn to our current pandemic. With the news that vaccines are being rolled out in the near future, there may be light at the end of the tunnel. And now's our time to think about how we as a society can be better as a result. For me, there are two main things that I will take away from this pandemic. The first is my reliance on a huge number of people who've put themselves in danger to continue delivering services throughout this pandemic. While we no longer stand on our doorsteps and clap every Thursday evening, let's make sure that when this pandemic is over, we continue to value people who work to support us through the pandemic. Whether that's thanking the bus driver whenever we get on the bus, being polite and friendly to the shopkeeper when we go in and buy things, or showing our gratitude to our teachers who've worked so hard throughout the pandemic. The second is that when life starts to come back to normal, it's our duty to savour those things which have been forbidden to us in lockdown. When we next go to our friend's house, let's just pause for a second and think about how special it is, how much we value it, and how much we missed it when it was denied to us. Whether what we missed is going to see our friends, going out to cafes, going to museums, going to libraries, whatever it was that we're missing, let's relish it that little bit more when it opens back up to us and life starts to go back to normal. So let's go back to the religious quote we started with. So much has been withheld this year. Let's try and treat that as a gift and show more esteem to those people who supported us throughout the pandemic and show greater appreciation for those things that have been denied to us. Please join me in commemorating World AIDS Day next week. I'll be selling red ribbons around school. Please bring in some money for a donation to buy one.